What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to do a spoiler-free review and an unboxing of a Vinegar Syndrome release for their new sub-label called Vinegar Syndrome Labs, called Guest House Paradiso. And it's not a horror movie, it's a comedy movie, and I want to tell you about it, so let's check it out. Guest House Paradiso, or you may have recognized this cover, Guest House Paradiso. But yes, I'll get into the unboxing and all the ingredients and everything that comes with this at the end of the video after I do my spoiler-free review, so stick around for that. For now, I'm going to tell you all about this wonderful, zany British comedy from some legends in England. So what is it all about? Well, it is a movie about two guys named Richie and Eddie who run a hotel together. One's the manager, one's the bellboy, and they basically are the worst hotel in all of England. They live by the ocean, which you'd think would be a good thing, although it's located next to some sort of chemical or nuclear power plant right next door. The air is unbreathable, and pretty much the place is just a disaster. Richie and Eddie, of course, are absolutely ignorant to their customers, treating them like absolute shit, trying to steal their money, trying to steal their belongings, sneaking in their room, and try not to kill each other. It's a wild, zany comedy that includes the famous legends Rik Mayall and Adrian Edmondson, who started the comedy troupe called The Comic Strip back in the day in England, which was kind of like, you know, taking over where Monty Python sort of left off in a way and doing their own wilder, zanier stuff. Rik Mayall and, of course, Adrian Edmondson actually were in the Young Ones TV, Bottom, which was another TV show that's kind of closely related to these characters, and many, many more. You know, obviously Rik Mayall did Drop Dead Fred, if you're more familiar with that, but they came together to write this really insanely wild comedy that was based off sort of their TV show, and it was a show about two flatmates or two apartment complex guys that lived together, and they had no job, and they were just kind of like doing wild, zany stuff. I've actually never seen the show, but I got introduced into this movie many years ago. As a matter of fact, I bought the DVD. It's a German one because I actually bought the VHS of the movie way back when Video Junkies was doing like reprints of stuff from other countries that you couldn't get that were in PAL, and if you didn't have a PAL VCR or converter of some sort, you couldn't watch it. So they had this company out there that would make copies of that, and you could check out some of these movies, and that's when I ended up buying this years later. And then, you know, obviously now we get the Blu Ray from Vinegar Syndrome. Now, if you've never seen this before, this is some wild, over-the-top shit. Like, these guys are absolutely fucking abhorrent to their guests, and it's hilarious. It's part dry humor, but it's also kind of like raunchy, and it's also kind of a little bit in the Three Stooges if they did adult-like behavior, you know, like not for kids at all. But there is some seriously over-the-top, like, fight scenes with each other, you know, picking, like, basically hurting each other in every way possible, like a cartoon would. It just goes all over the place, and then by the end of the movie ends in this glorious, like, disgusting vomitous scene that basically takes over the entire hotel. It's just one of those things where these guys are not supposed to be winners. They're absolute losers, and the whole place is falling apart around them, and they're sort of keeping up appearances while each of the guests have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, you know, it's supposed to be over the top and not very serious, but, you know, it's not for everybody. The comedy is not for everybody. I showed it to my girlfriend today because I've absolutely loved this movie for many years, and you know, some people like it, some people don't, but I think quite a few of us do, and I think if you have a sense of humor that is okay with dry humor and a little bit of that Three Stooges humor, I think you can kind of get into this one. Nothing extremely graphic, nothing with nudity or anything like that. There are sexual suggestive scenes, but it's really not. It's really just kind of stupid and silly. And watching Rik who plays Richie, who's like the hotel manager, and then Eddie, the bellhop, they basically just go bananas in this over the top thing. And it's just kind of cool because there's a lot of people that show up in this movie that you might know, like Simon Pegg, who shows up with his family and has a bunch of issues with these guys. Bill Nye is in this movie, who later on went on to work with Simon Pegg in Shaun of the Dead as his father or his stepfather. In fact, this is Simon Pegg's first feature film, and he grew up watching movies and TV shows with Rik Mayall in it, like The Young Ones and the comic strip and stuff like that. So this was like a huge pleasure for him to do it. Obviously, Rik Mayall has since passed. He died June of 2014, and this is pretty much his last foray with Adrian Edmondson together. So it's kind of a special movie in some ways for a lot of people. It just depends on if you're a fan, you know. I actually bought the comic strip and Bad News, which they used to do these like faux documentaries, you know, kind of like This Is Spinal Tap. So I got that from Severin not too long ago. It has all the episodes and everything, and it's some wild stuff. You'll see a ton of people that like later on went on to do a ton of different movies and stuff. So I really think that this movie is really funny and I really enjoy it. I think if you have like a sick sense of humor, I think you'll be able to get into it, and maybe some of these clips that you're seeing while I'm talking about it will help you to kind of get into it as well. But yeah, if you're a fan of this, I would love to hear what you think of it. If you're a fan of this movie, or did you like the TV shows better? Personally, for me, I picked this up from Vinegar Syndrome. It was an easy buy because, you know, it's just time to upgrade this one. And it does have one extra thing in it, which we'll get into the ingredients of it now. If I had to give this one a score, I'd say it's an 8 out of 10. And for a comedy movie like this, it's just, you don't see movies like this anymore. And it is so ridiculous and over the top that there's just something really charming about it. And Rik Mayall and Adrian Edmondson are just fantastic together. A lot of the cast are really good, but those two are the best in the whole film. I'll put links down below if you want to pick up a copy. It'll save you $5 if you want to pick something up from Vinegar Syndrome. They didn't sponsor this video. I'm just letting you know. You can do that down below with the link that I provide. So let's get into this release and talk about what's in it and what to expect. So yes, obviously we get the cover here, which, you know, you can kind of see it's a little bright here, but this is, the spine has it in white, Guest House Paradiso. But on the back, this is what at the front desk, when Richie is talking to people, you know, it says his name and that he's the hotel manager. While on the other side, on his side, it says another bloody customer. So it's just kind of a joke. And the fish is what they eat in the film that has a rather explosive thing. I won't get into that, but it's a pretty wild element in the film. Also, something interesting that you may not realize is that if you look here, there is a Universal logo, which I guess they're the owners of this. I'm not 100% sure, but when you fire up the disc, it has the Universal thing on it, so which is really weird for me when I saw that with Vinegar Syndrome. But yeah, just thought I'd let you know. This is the slip cover. Right now they still have these for, I think they have like around 1,000, just over their regular slip cover. And then underneath you get the regular cover, but you can also switch it out for the new one if you like. You obviously get your disc, which has sort of everything sort of melting off of the thing here with this green vomit that's kind of like throwing up all over the place. Now, there are some things about this that you'll like. That this is a brand new 4K scan that they do from the interpositive. It's a 35mm interpositive. Pretty good looking too. I really enjoyed seeing it. I mean, it was always kind of like some of the beginning, you can kind of see some of the logos and stuff, but it looks way better than the DVD copy that I have. It is much more crisp, and the coloring seems pretty good too. There are no like commentaries or anything like that, unfortunately, but I don't even think my DVD had that. But they have a new one with Pegg, Simon Pegg. It's called Paradiso Pegg. It's a 12-minute sort of interview with Simon Pegg, and he kind of goes over his history of him being a fan of like the TV shows and everything like that. They also have the making of Guest House Paradiso, which is a 37-minute like long thing about the making of, which I think was with the original movie many years ago. They have a archival making of featurette that they also include in this. And then from the cutting room floor, it's a 9-minute about a collection of outtakes that they have from the movie as well. And You'll also get multiple different original trailers from it, the obvious reversible sleeve, and of course, if you need, you have the English SDH subtitles. And I would love to see if there's some fans out there that you guys might like this as well. So if you are, please shout out in the comment section. I would love to hear from you guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Vinegar Syndrome is doing pretty good. They've got some different sub-labels now that they're doing for a lot of different types of stuff. It's not just horror, exploitation, and stuff like that. They're actually kind of trying to do a lot more, and they've even gotten some comic books because they bought the Fulci comics. But yeah, it's kind of nice that they're doing some other stuff like this too. And, you know, it may be up to the fucking boutiques to basically save physical media. So if you are a physical media fan and you like this movie, I think this is definitely worth the purchase. It is definitely an upgrade from this one. It has a lot more to it and it looks beautiful. So I put a link down below so you can get $5 off your first order. I think it's like over $25 or $30 you have to spend. Most of the stuff is about that price anyway. So thank you guys so much for coming by, and as always, long live the void.